Thank you. Because of the limited time, we're going to leap right into it. We're going to begin by performing an effect that goes back at least 1,000 years to the Chinese cultural tradition. I'll be performing a little bit more modern version. The magical composer on this instrument was the great 20th century Canadian-American magician Dai Vernon. And the music is by Fritz Kreisler, the tambourin chinois. Kate, do you mind helping out? Thanks. Kate, I asked Kate and Katie to sit up front since no one was. Because of the stair situation, Kate, I'd normally have you come on stage because of the interest in time. If you'll turn around and fall out, I'm going to try and teach Kate how to do this. I should point out in China they use as many as 18, sometimes even 23 of these rings. And they'll make dragons and butterflies. Kate, that simple chain of 3 that you have in China symbolizes the 3 rings of matrimony. I don't know if you know about this. Kate, are you married? No, not yet. All right. Let me explain then. First comes the engagement ring, followed by the wedding ring, and of course then comes the suffering. In China. Rosemary hates that joke. Kate, let me work with the remaining 3 rings. That's 2 of the rings. That's all 3. Now let me straighten out mine so we have that matrimonial chain. If you'll take your left hand and hold those 2 down where they're joined, and then adjust your right hand to hold those 2 where they're joined. I'll hold mine the same way so you can follow along. Exactly right. Very nicely done. Kate, take either one of the outer rings, swing it against the center ring, blow against the spot where they're joined as you gently pull them apart. Go ahead. Whoop, your hand's kind of in the way. Do you see where mine are joined? Blow right there on mine. Blow. Nicely done. Let's hear it for Kate. You didn't think you could do it. Now, Kate, let me trade you. I'll show you how to put them together. If you would, Kate, take those 2. Take 1 in each hand. And if you would, Kate, take the rings and bang one ring as hard as you can against the other ring, just halfway through it. That's the secret. Now that they're linked, Kate, do just what you did before to unlink them. Just blow on the spot where they're joined as you gently pull them apart. Blow on them, pull them apart. Oh, he got them apart already. Fantastic. Take a bow. Nicely done, Kate. Good job. Now, of course, if you have more than the 2 rings that Kate has, they can become linked seemingly in so many places, Kate, that sometimes seems absolutely impossible to get them apart. In fact, I'm going to need your help one more time. If you would, Kate, blow right there. Nicely done. Let's hear it for Kate. Thank you so much. Take a bow. Good job, Kate. Thank you. Katie, I'm going to hand that to you. Tug on that. Is that going to come apart? Go tug that. Let's hear it for those guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to work really quickly. We're only going to have time for one more. I do want to say, please talk to us afterwards. We had our first and very pleasant Wyoming experience. Last year we did a little residency in Lander, and on the way to Lander we were able to do a school presentation in Rock Springs. And so we hope to repeat that kind of experience. We're looking for a block booking next fall in the Casper area. We're talking to the Casper Youth Symphony about doing something with them. This next piece involved another element that the last one didn't, but we like quite a bit in many of our pieces, and that's storytelling. And I've actually written this story. I'm kind of proud of it, so let me tell you a little bit about it. The story is called Taro-san the Fisherman. That's the little boy here. And the Weeping Willow Tree, and it's inspired by a traditional Japanese effect that we'll be performing called Nankin Tamasurare. In my normal performances, I tell a little bit more about it. Come back and take a look at the instrument that I'll be playing a little closely afterwards. It's kind of unusual. But the Japanese tradition, which you can find on YouTube, just look for Tamasurare, is very different. They wear a special costume, they do a special dance, they sing a special song, and I don't sing the song or wear the costume or do the dance. But I tell a story, and theirs is not narrative at all. They make figures with the sticks. I'll show those to you in a second. And it's like an ancient transformer set. It goes back to the Edo period. We think about 400 years old. But I wanted to use the sticks to tell a story. And at first, all I had was the title, Taro-san the Fisherman and the Weeping Willow Tree. And so that wouldn't have been much of a book. Here's what it would have looked like at that time. But then as I played with the sticks, and Rosemary found wonderful music by a great 20th century Japanese traditional composer, Michio Miyagi. And when she added the music to what I was doing with the sticks, the story evolved. And I liked it so much after many performances that I found a Japanese friend who translated into Japanese. I think he did a great job. So it's Japanese on one side, English on the other. But there seemed to be something missing. So I got a friend to illustrate the cover, and he did such a good job. I asked him to illustrate the whole thing. So come by our booth, take a closer look. I think it turned out pretty well. Have copies for you if you're interested. We're going to perform it now. Without further ado, thank you, connoisseurs. So here are the Nankin Tamasurare sticks. Nankin's a city in China. This does not come from China. We can talk about that. It's definitely Japanese. And surare is a special kind of Japanese curtain out of bamboo. So come up to the booth later on and take a closer look. This is the story of Taro-san the Fisherman and the Weeping Willow Tree. When Taro-san was a little boy, he loved nothing more than to sit in the shade of a weeping willow tree on the bank of a river and fish all day long. And something about the way the branches rustled the water that seemed to attract the fish to the surface, making them very easy for Taro-san to catch, which is probably why he loved to fish so much. So he decided at a very early age that when he grew up, he would become a professional fisherman. The years passed. The day finally arrived. Taro-san bought himself a boat and set sail on the ocean, looking for a good spot to fish. He found a spot. He cast out his net, but the net came back empty. He found another spot, and he cast it out again. But again, it came back empty. That happened all day the first day. The second day, Taro-san was getting very, very discouraged. He was almost ready to give up on his lifelong dream of being a professional fisherman, but before he did, he decided to make a voyage, a pilgrimage to the sacred island of Miyajima off the eastern coast of Japan, home to some of Japan's largest and most sacred Shinto shrines. As he approached the island in the distance, he could see the roof of the largest shrine going closer and closer growing larger and larger as he got closer and closer. When he got closer still, in the harbor, he could see the large and famous Otori Gate that marks the entrance to the harbor. But before he could reach it, he had to sail his boat under the very long extension bridge that connects one side of the harbor to the other. He did that. He anchored his boat. He went to the shrine. But he didn't enter the shrine because what he was looking for was just outside. It was a well. We would call it a wishing well because he took a piece of parchment and a calligraphy brush and he painted the Chinese characters, the kanji, for his wish to be a professional fisherman. Then he dropped the parchment into the well. There was a bell hanging over the well and a log hanging next to it. He struck the bell once, twice, 3 times to summon his ancestors, to let them know he had left this request for their aid behind. Then he went back to the harbor, got into his boat, and set sail for the mainland. But when he looked over his shoulder at the island of Miyajima, over the shrine, he saw a large and beautiful rainbow, which he took as an omen, as a sign that his ancestors had heard and would respond to his plea for their help. In fact, when he got to the mainland, standing on the shore, he saw an old man fishing. In fact, the man was reeling in a fish at that very moment. He thought, this old fisherman has been sent to me by my ancestors to share with me the secret of becoming a successful professional fisherman. So he introduced himself to the man, invited him to dinner. They went into the village. They found the sign of the nearest noodle shop. And after ordering, the old fisherman said, "Tell me, Taro-san, what is the name of your boat?" "Taro-san, it doesn't have a name, it's brand new." "There's your problem," said the old fisherman. "A boat without a name will never catch any fish, because what do the fish see when they look up through the water? They see a fishing boat. That frightens them away. If you give your boat a name, it will transform what they see. If you give your boat a proper name, it will actually attract the fish to the boat, making them easy for you to catch." Instantly, Taro-san thought he had the perfect name for his boat. He rushed out of the restaurant, even though it was nearly midnight. He took his calligraphy brush, and on the bow of the boat, he painted the 3 Chinese characters, the 3 kanji, for the name that he had decided upon. Then, without even waiting for the paint to dry, in total darkness, he set sail to the east. A few hours later, when he looked to the horizon to the east, he saw the sun rising in a clear blue sky. He took that as another omen, as a sign that this would be the perfect place for him to cast out his net for the very first time in his newly named boat. That's exactly what he did. And this time, unlike the many times before where his net had always come back empty, this time when he reeled in his net, he found that it actually had inside of it the largest fish that he had ever seen. That turned out not to be a coincidence. In fact, that happened each and every time all day long. He was actually a little worried that at the end of the day, he might have trouble sailing his heavily laden boat home. But as he did sail it safely home, he decided to put 2 special flags from the bow of his boat. One flag to honor his ancestors, and the other flag to honor the old fisherman who he felt they had sent to him and who had shared with him the secret of giving his boat a proper name. Now, I haven't told you the name that he gave his boat, but maybe you can guess from the story. Do you remember how when he was a boy, he sat in the shade of the Weeping Willow Tree, and somehow the branches attracted the fish, making them easy for Taro-san to catch? That's what he called his boat. So that now when the fish looked up through the water, they no longer saw a fishing boat that frightened them away. Instead, what they saw attracted them, made them easy for Taro-san to catch, made him a success for the rest of his career, because to them, it now looked just like a weeping willow tree. Thank you so much. Come by our booth, tacos. Thanks for having us here. Whoops. Thanks to these guys. You guys did a good job too. Thanks. Whoop. We're going to get, there we go. Got it.